Alrighty, so we've got a fun one here. Should be a entertaining fight. Jordan Griffin versus Luis Saldana. Believe I'm pronouncing that correct. So Luis, he has finished all of his wins. He's got 14 wins, 7 finishes by KO, 7 by sub. He's like, you look at his record, you wouldn't be that impressed. He's lost to some pretty poor competition. Some of the fighters he's lost to are fair enough. Like, you're supposed to beat those guys, but if you lose to them, whatever, they can beat you on their day. Like, guys like Mike Santiago. But I'm talking about other guys. I'm talking about guys like Alex Wiggs Jr., Anthony Beckham, or however you say it, Damian Childress, Justin Lawrence, fine, he was in the UFC. Still not great, but fine, acceptable if you lose them. Tom Aarons, even though that was early in his career, but he's got a few losses, a few questionable losses here. And like the guys that he's beaten aren't very skilled either. Like Carl Whitstock, I don't know what he was doing in there. Vince Murdoch, I'm not sure what Vince's game plan was, but it befuddled me. Yeah, I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve. But also Vince, he's a very small featherweight. I'm not sure what he's doing at featherweight, but he's tiny for the weight class. He's got to be one of the smallest featherweights I've ever seen. And yeah, I believe he's had fairly easy competition throughout his career so far. And even so, he's 14-6. So he's got some skills. I'm not going to say that, but putting it all together doesn't seem like he has it all there yet. Alright, we'll break the strike into these two. So, Saldana, he, displayed some very good striking on the Contender Series. He had very good distance control, which is common in a lot of his fights. He can back onto the fence, and can be kind of kept there, that was in, whenever Murdoch was coming forward, he was able to push Luis back pretty easily. And same with another one of his regional fights. I think it's the Will Shutt fight or something like that. The guy, it was a bald head guy with a tattoo on the back of his head, and he came out really aggressive and like pushed Luis back, and then just kind of left his foot off the gas. Not sure what he was doing, but whatever. That's just something I noticed. Also, he's generally throwing singular strikes. For Jordan Griffin, he is a southpaw. He charges in with a combination. He leaves himself very open. When he's blitzing in, I can see Luis sliding back, hitting him with a counter 2 or a counter 3. He caught Vince Murdoch with a counter, like a check left hook a few times when he was on the retreat. But yeah, so Jordan Griffin, he has his hands low pretty much at all times. He's got a decent chin, I guess, but yeah, it's just not something. It's not a great tendency to have for longevity. And also he will straighten his legs at distance for some reason. He just kind of stiffens up, and just when he's at range, he'll stiffen up and do that. And Saldana has some decent low kicks, some low calf kicks, so right to the pain area where I think he could really do some damage in this fight. So whenever Saldana switches southpaw, he's looking for that side kick. It doesn't throw too much offense besides the kicks. Mostly a side kick in southpaw, but that's what to expect when he switches to southpaw. And when he's in orthodox, he's got really nice teeps to the body. He will turn that into a front kick if his opponent's short, like Vince Murdoch. But yeah, so generally, good kicks, good distance for Saldana. One thing he does do that I've noticed in a lot of his fights is that he leans back with his chin in the air when he's pressured or when he's on the back foot. So I don't think Jordan's gonna like catch him cold, but it is a possibility in the future for opponents to pressure him and try and extend their combinations and try and land on his chin as he's leaning back. I couldn't find too much like tape on Saldana's grappling, but he seemed to have good takedown defense and a decent sprawl over a single leg. When he did try to be offensive and try and take the back, he didn't put his leg hooks in at all. and he was just trying to control him with a seatbelt grip pretty much. And if that guy had any get-ups or reversals, Saldana would be on his back, or, the other guy would have just got up. I'm talking about the Whitcock fight or whatever his name was. The previous fight before Saldana had his Contender Series fight. Jordan Griffin, he telegraphs his takedown entries. It's kind of when he's blitzing in with that, 2-3 that he tends to go with, or the 1-2, and then he'll change levels and go for a double in the fence. Or he'll get onto your hips and then drive you to the fence. But yeah, so when it's like when he's not advancing and, doing these blitz advances, he will just, stay at kind of boxing range and then shoot for a takedown with a lazy jab setup. But you can shoot from too far out, and it does, he does get countered quite a lot, and he does get stuffed and then put on his back quite a fair bit. But when he does, get into a grappling situation, say the clinch, he's definitely better from the body lock position. When he gets that wrestling ride, he can, jump the back from there, or he can mat return and then take the back. But yeah, just in general, defending guillotines for Jordan Griffin, I don't think his takedown defense is very good at all. He will go for that low percentage guillotine. I guess that he caught PJ Brown with it, or TJ, I'm not sure of his name, but he caught Brown with it. But that's not going to happen every day of the week. That's very rare that happens in the UFC. And it was a weird choke too. He was in side control. It was a very weird choke. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, poor takedown defense. I don't see this one hitting the mat. I see it hitting the mat at some point maybe, but mostly it will be on the feet. Alright, so how these guys win their fights. So for Jordan Griffin, he's durable, he's hard to put away. For Saldana, the way he kind of separates himself from the rest, he's got a really nice jab. He's good at controlling range for the most part. Especially would help him in a bigger cage. If this is at the apex, he'll definitely be favouring Jordan Griffin. With his blitzes, he'll be able to, close the distance, get into the clinch after his blitzes as well. But yeah, so if it's at the apex, good for Griffin. Still, I don't think it changes my prediction at all. So Saldana seems to be improving every fight, but yeah, I haven't seen much tape from his losses. So yeah. So for how these guys lose, I can't say too much about Saldana because I couldn't really find any tape on his losses, and some of them were had a paywall. I just wasn't willing to pay because I knew I wasn't going to bet this fight. But yeah, it sounded like he was out grappled, wrestle fucked, whatever you want to say, in a lot of those losses. But still, losing to those guys, not good. And yeah, so how Jordan Griffin loses, he's got poor takedown defense and the striking tendencies that we talked about before. Alright, path to victory for these two. For Saldana, kind of, jab him up, push him back to the fence, stay away from, just push him back, so make sure he's on the retreat. Stay away from the fence, so don't get pushed to the fence by him. Low kicks at distance, jabs at distance, just jab his face up pretty much. Who was jabbing Jordan Griffin up? I think it was TJ Brown. Who's his most recent fight? Zalal. Yeah, so it was Zalal that was jabbing him up, so yeah, just hit that jab. Also, the slide back 2 is on. That's what TJ Brown caught him with. Slide back 2 in the first 15 seconds of their fight. That's definitely going to be on with his blitzes that he does. For Jordan Griffin, get your wrestling boots on. You're going to want him for this fight. I don't think you have... I think it's going to be too much on the feet, honestly. Clinch up though, look for the body lock, look for the wrestling ride, look to take it to the mat. But yeah, in my opinion, outmatched on the feet here. So how I see it going. So I'm not going to lie, I didn't look too hard into this one. I just watched the last probably 5 fights of these two, but I was skipping a lot of it because it was just inertia in a lot of them. I don't think I'm able to make an accurate prediction on this one. I don't have a good read on Saldana's level, and I don't like the way Griffin comes into fights, and how he's very unstructured, how he puts himself in a lot of danger constantly. Just yeah, I don't love it. But yeah, I need to see more from Saldana before I consider him a prospect. That being said, on the feet, I think Saldana cruises pretty much, constantly catching Griffin as he comes in, uh, touching him up at distance when Griffin's on the back foot. Saldana's takedown defense looked okay enough on tape, I guess. So I wouldn't be surprised if, Griffin gets Saldana down, but I don't think it's going to be the majority of the fight. I think the majority of the fight is going to be Saldana piecing him up on the feet. So, not confident, but my prediction is Saldana by decision. And here's the betting lines. I'm recording this in February, mid-February. So, it's quite a while away. The betting lines haven't come out in best fight odds. I'm just looking at Parry Match. And Saldana is a 60 to 40% favorite. He's 60% to 40% for Jordan Griffin, 60% for Saldana. So that's pretty much what I line the fight as. If Saldana got up to like $1.80, maybe I'd play him, but I'd need to see a little bit more from him, to be honest. But it seems to be a good enough matchup for him, and the UFC likely want him to win here. So they've matched him up with someone who they believe he can beat. And yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. So I wouldn't, get too confident either way in this one. Just, I don't know how you could be, honestly, but yeah. So yeah, maybe because Saldana, he's finished all of his wins. So I'm kind of expecting the inside the distance line for Saldana to be a little bit juiced, maybe. So I'm gonna see what the not Luis Saldana inside the distance line is gonna be, and if it's like $1.50, I might jump on it because I think Griffin's quite durable. And those lines are generally juiced when someone has finished all their fights up in their career so far. But as I said, really poor competition for Saldana. And Griffin is durable. So yeah, we'll see. See when it comes out.